The power to laugh is it's not a gift, man. It's a trust. It's a community ideal. To be able to put people in a room, let's talk about some of the most difficult things, painful, hurtful things, but yet congeal an environment where people can see their own humanity, show compassion, and show mercy. Civil Liberties attorney Clarence Darrow also said when it came to humor, if you lose the power to laugh, you lose the power to think. With that, I present the End of Racism Comedy Lecture Tour Virtual Edition.
I think racism is the reason why you never ever seen black people in tennis commercials. You're laughing, but if you went to the local pharmacy, you saw a cardboard cutout of me with some sunnails, you'd be confused. It's a killer. They don't tell you this. It affects everybody. Guess what? Racism affects white people too. But they don't tell you. That's why I'm here. Work with me here, black people like month. I'm Muslim, Muslims have Ramadan, Latinos have Latino month, Asians have. What do my white brothers and sisters have? Nothing. You don't have a Caucasian Awareness Month or Black Appreciation Day or Hanukkah or Solomon or Richard Month or all the young people prepare for all nothing. You got your right hand, extend 5 fingers. I call this the fives. It's about thinking about language. Freedom. I believe there's always 5 letters that let us know just how close we are. 5 letters. Think outside the box. Here we go. You can count on them. 5 letters. I believe all exist. E-X-I-S-T. Human birth. 5 letters. By virtue of fact, all human nature remain. Therefore, it don't matter what black 5 letters, white 5 letters, Asian 5 letters, Latino, Latina, I like the whole A, spell A, true. I'm Muslim, you know, I follow Islam, that's 5 letters. If you Christian follow Jesus, the Jews, you get 4 or 5 letters too. The point is, as good as it sounds, is always going to be here. And that's 5 letters too. Because the power lies in how you get U-N-I-T-Y. And I ain't even how it is. Most of them are angry, some of them are upset, some of them pissed off right now because damn it, they can't SPL. It's okay. Tell lady, listen, man, if you can't spell it out, do the math. If you take 3 things away from the 5, you get your peace. And that peace is spelled P-E-A-C-E.
I proudly present the End of Racism Comedy Lecture Tour Virtual Edition, coming to a college near you. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everybody. This is Preacher Mars, host of the ShOUT Show. Hope everybody's doing well. Let me switch over my microphone. There we go. Hope everybody's doing well, man. We made it to Wednesday. No snow, no frost, nothing like that. No major things, just the usual politics. The politics are among us. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. Wednesday is sort of like a hump day for me. If I can get to Wednesday, I can get to the rest of the week. That's the way I've always framed it. In my neighborhood, we always call it hump day, like you're getting over the hump. And I need to rephrase that for anybody. It's just the middle of the week. You know, it's a geometric look or symmetrical look back and a symmetrical look forward, if you will. So I think we can celebrate hump day with sort of like the end of it. We're kind of easing into Thursday. You know, nobody who's really counts Friday, especially when it's a pay week. So let me get those things out of the way, and again, welcome people to the show. This is ShOUT Show. My name is Preacher Mars. I'm the host of the SOS. If you're coming here for the first time, we appreciate you. I appreciate you, and I'm going to tell you why I appreciate you. Because we're on a different bit of a tangent here today. We're going to do some things differently, and this show is about convergence, if you will. We've been talking about a lot of things for the last, I want to say, 6 to 7 months. And I think it was really, really important as we began to go through Black History Month, because we are easing out of Black History Month, just so you know. But I will be celebrating who I think are Black heroes and sheroes as well. But I think it's important to begin to put things together, to take the left and the right, to take the up and the down, to take one and one and make two, or take three and three and make six. And that leads us to the topic today, which is about understanding life literacy. And I'm going to explain a little bit about literacy. Some of you know what literacy means, and we're talking, being able to read and have that literacy applicable to other areas of your life. That's true. I'm going to look at life literacy as something different. From a believer perspective, you don't necessarily have to be religious, but I'm going to frame it in terms of the overall ecosystem of life and how we deal with ourselves, how we deal with other people. Because for whatever reason, I don't know why, people become really, really, really sensitized in some regards, and really, really desensitized in the idea of how life is supposed to be lived. There's something about life expectations, there's something about life expectancy. They're in that ball, for lack of a better word, brothers and sisters. It's this thing that's life literacy, and we may be forging into some territory that's a little bit different, that we haven't heard at the church, that we haven't heard on the minbar, that we haven't heard at the temple. We haven't even heard it on the corner, but it's a really, really important component of what I want to talk about today. So let me welcome people who are coming to the show for the first time. I appreciate you. And I want to even throw this out here. The people who come to the show for the first time, and the people who come back for the first time or the second time or the third time, you are engaging a certain nuance about this whole thing about life literacy, about the ability to go out and get information, literally get information, process information, and put it into effect. There's some things that were in the news, and it really, really kind of compelled me in some regards to have this conversation, because everybody knows, I'm a comedian and things like that. Just like a lot of comedians, a lot of artists, a lot of performers, we've literally been out of work for a year at this point in time. Let's just call it technically a year, not being able to do live shows, things like that. And speaking to a good friend of mine, who's a very funny comedian, had some hardships, not able to perform like he would like to for a plethora of reasons. But we talked about this thing about how do we focus and grow value. I didn't say wealth, because you have to have value to get the wealth. But how do we broker understanding about how we get to these things? And we came to the ideas about how you establish and position life literacy. Okay. So we have some people in the box. If you're coming to the show for the first time, like I said, thank you, but don't be shy. Get in the comment section and get your shout out. You know what's funny? Sometimes we have people in the comment section, and then I look and I see how many people watching the show, and I'm like, people watching the show, get in the comment section. I'm not going to bite you. You're not going to bite me. This is a platform that's meant to be framed as a community expression. So let me get to expressing my piece. This is my sister Ree. Everybody, please pray for Ree. Make the dua for Ree. She had a very bad allergic reaction to some medication, aspirin. And Ree, I want you to take care of whatever the doctors are telling you. I want you to listen to them, give them pause, and be patient. When we get these things that happen to our bodies, please be patient. In fact, that's one of the types of literacy that we're talking about, health literacy. So please listen to the doctors, listen to your body, and we'll be continuing to do things like we do, like make dua for you, and we pray that, number one, that you have a good recovery, and number two, you have a full recovery, so you don't have to revisit this situation again. Next up, our consultant producer, Miss Satana Whitfield. Like I said, she makes things go a lot easier for your brother Preacher Moss. We are entering to some territory where we're beginning to expand a little bit more on the Permissible Laughter brand in terms of our production, in terms of our reach, in terms of our ability to provide content. The ShOUT show of which being one. But I think it's important to frame that for all of us, because I feel like, people don't win alone. like a comedian just can't go on stage and be funny and have value unless there's an audience there to somehow, rubber stamp or validate that value. This is the same thing as a singer, same thing as, anybody who has talent or skill, which is all of us. We also need to be able to frame our talent and skill against other things. So that's probably another discussion. Let's talk about life literacy, if you will. Now, when we're talking life literacy, there are your regular literacies. There's digital literacy, the ability to work a computer or a spreadsheet or Word. There's financial literacy, the ability to understand your finances, banking, checking, savings, ledgers, all those type of things. You have all these different. And of course, you have basic literacy, the ability to read and write and connect, if you will. And I almost forgot my sister, and forgive me, Sister Jasmine Fruits, all the way from the UK, has joined us. I appreciate you joining the show, sister. It's always a pleasure to see you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To everybody as well. Sister Satana, that goes to you as well. But in the mind of the creative, and I don't say myself as a creative, I'm saying the mind of the creative. All of you who out there have the ability to be creative. It doesn't, if you can't tell a joke, it doesn't mean anything. I can't play an instrument, it doesn't mean anything. If you figured out in some regards how to get from point A to point B, there is a vestige of creativity that you really need to respect and examine. Okay, let me move forward. And I want to give a shout out to one of my creative people, our sponsor of the show. Of course, this is Miss Maxine Cade, who is the proprietor of course, BeFinanciallyIndependent.com. Again, that's BeFinanciallyIndependent.com. If you don't want to go to the website, it's okay. You can call 1-800-679-3175. That's very important. And we have some people who are joining us. My brother, JT, how you doing? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We had a great conversation about voting rights yesterday. It should be SOS After Dark. We had a great conversation about voting rights and how people are creatively trying to figure out how to jip people or seriously restrict people from their voting rights. And my main man, Altaf Rashid, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hey, how you doing, Altaf? Thank you so much for joining us. And I think this might be of benefit to everybody. I know it's a benefit to me. When you're doing research sometimes and putting together a show, I mean, you really, oh, wow. Hey, I got, what's going on? Afad, wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, all the way from Malaysia. How you doing, brother? Man, a pleasure. Thank you for joining the show. You are officially part of the Shout Out Show family. Tell your family that they are part of a special group and an eclectic group. I had a great time out there in Malaysia when I went. I had a good time, man. I partied. They tried to get me to eat this fruit, but I was like, I wasn't going to eat it because they were smiling too much and giggling. I was like, I'm not going to eat it. And whenever somebody says, eat this, and they smiling and looking, don't eat it. Okay. That's right. What's going on? Are you still in Australia? Oh, you're in Malaysia now. Okay. Fine. Well, hey, man, good to see you on the show. I hope you and your family are doing well. And a hearty wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brother. Thank you so much for joining the show. Okay, now I got to go into a story. Okay. Afad is part of a very, very famous Nasheed group. Now, for those who don't know what Nasheeds are, they're like Muslim, you know how Christians have gospel singers? Well, Muslim spirituals are basically sung by Nasheed group. And Rayhan is a group of guys that are A, fabulous singers, B, a fabulous showmen, and 3, out of this world musicians. We were on tour in London, if you will, and let's be honest, the language barrier was it was tough. We were trying to figure thing out. Remember this, Afad? My eye. That's Malay for oh boy. My eye, and that's all I can tell you in terms of that. Thank you, brother. I mean, thank you. So, see, he's remembering. I'm doing an outro on you guys. But talking about life literacy, brothers and sisters, I think it's really, really important because it seems like we get things part and partial. One of the probably more frustrating things in public education, for me, I can't speak about everybody else, but as an instructor, one of the things that was really difficult for me in public education is when you saw a child who could possibly do more, a child who had a capacity to do more, learn more. We were handcuffed by the public school system because we could only teach them to a point. The public school system is set up to educate children, but it's to get them over a particular finish line, if you will. Which means if I saw it in you that you did 10 problems, but I know you could do 30, they really want you to just do 10 problems. And then take the rest of the time and energy and devote it to the other children who may not be able to do 10 problems, which I get. But it's a stymie on creativity. What I feel is when we talk about life literacy, we are working out of a space in many regards where we've been stymied. Oh, here you go. Oh, man, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. So let me throw this out. One of the things I've really been focusing on, and through this whole pandemic and things like that, one of the things I've really focused on is where's my literacy? Where's my life literacy? Meaning, if you had to take out a specific set of skills to deal with a problem, whether it's a pandemic, whether it's a health problem, whether it's finances, what skill would you be able to put together and create a model that gives you value? Now we have Miss Kate on, and she's a financial advisor. This is what she does. She takes people's finances, little here, little there, and she creates a model and a program whereby you can grow your finances. In this situation of life literacy, there's some literacies that are left out. I gave you digital, I gave you health, I gave you financial, I gave you cultural, but they leave out spiritual literacy and mobility literacy. Spiritual literacy and mobility literacy. And the reason why those are so important is you have to understand that everything that comes to you in life is not necessarily going to be taught to you through these specific mediums. It's not a pragmatic thing. It doesn't just come one thing and that thing. It doesn't just come health. A lot of times you'd be surprised how much your financial literacy is affected by your health literacy. If you have a health problem, it invariably affects your financial well-being. If you don't have insurance, you could have insurance, but just the deductibles could cause all kind of mayhem and wreak havoc on your budget. Your health literacy could have a lot to do with your cultural literacy. Think about here in the United States. Back in the early 90s, you had an AIDS epidemic. If you had AIDS back in the early 90s, you were a pariah. People didn't want to deal with you. People don't want to sit with you. They don't want to be in restaurants with you. And it sounds cold, but I'm giving you the facts. This is what it was. So if you begin to start understanding that, understand that all of these literacies, they combine, they congeal. And when they congeal, the question is, what are we really looking at? What are we really looking at? Per se, if you had to build a model, a mobility model, dealing with aspects of literacy, which is not just reading, but interpreting. I think that's really important. It's not just reading, it's interpreting. Interpreting the things that you see around them and how they balance against your personal beliefs or your personal talents and skills. How would you do that? Like we talk about financial literacy. Well, that's the ability to say, hey, I could do X, Y, and Z, but is there a spiritual component to that? Are you willing in some regards to take the spine, to understand where you are spiritually and create a model where these things fit in, where these things happen? And one of the tougher things I had to do last year, unfortunately, I had to bury my friend Reginald Kitchen. Okay? Now let me tell you why it was a little difficult, so you guys know. We talked about that day coming and what we had to do as a team, if you will, as a family, if you will, was be able to frame that space, that literacy, or that interpretation that he was going to be leaving, and find good and value in the other things that he be leaving behind. His health became a misnomer for people to understand that you have to take care of your health. Wealth, that was something different, and it had to do with finance. The spiritual aspect of Mr. Kitchen, his spiritual literacy was important because that's what people found value in. That's what people found value in. And what people don't understand, and even I forget sometimes, I'm not perfect, is that your bounty, or how you frame literacy for people, is a teaching tool. It's a teaching tool. It's a constant learning organization that you are obviously going through. It's like being a really, really good chef. You have a fantastic piece of meat, if you will, or a steak, or a chicken, and somehow you can reach in the cupboard and you can bring flavor, texture, aroma to this piece of chicken that wasn't there before. And that, brothers and sisters, is what life literacy is about. What are we doing to increase the texture, the aroma, the visual acuity, the attractiveness, the resilience, and in some regards, brothers and sisters, the retention for the good things. One of the literacies I had written down, and I think about, one of the biggest literacies we don't know, we don't have failure literacy. In America, we really don't put in a space where we can interpret what failure means to us. Like when I do things, I build in a little box for failure. And it's not a bad thing because I'm not afraid to fail, just like many of you are not afraid to fail. Because people think failure is absolute. No, failure is subjective. Again, if there's a test of 100 points and I got 97 of the points, well, there's a failure quotient of 3 points. People think failure is, there's a test of 50, there's a test of 100 points, I got 50, I failed. No, you retained at least something about 50% of the information that was there. And sometimes you only need 50% or 30%. Flashback to when I failed geometry. I never used geometry again. But just to pass it, I got a B. I never used it again. C, get degrees. In spiritual literacy, I'm going to promote the fact that we all have a fiduciary responsibility to ourselves and our own spirits to do an audit. To do a health audit. To make sure that our health is okay. Because the things that we want to do so much, and I'm giving a shout out to my mom. Thank you, Mom, son. Love you. The things that we want to do so much require good health. Good health. I want to be wealthy. But you have to have good health to do that. In the last 30, 40 years, the doctors in the medical field have made sure that people know about their health and the up and downs of health. Because they realize that an unhealthy nation, like we have right now, is an extensive burden on the financial system and the economy of a country, particularly the United States. That people can't go in and work the way they were or work the hours that they normally do, all of a sudden presents a conundrum that we're not prepared for. I'm giving a bigger picture about the economy, but what about our own personal economies? The economies with our families, our husbands, our wives, our children, our brothers, our sisters, our political establishment. Think about how important it is to have maximum efficiency of these particular literacies. Your health, your mental literacy. Do you know how important it is to know that you're okay mentally? It's important. The digital aspect. Can you work a computer? I was talking to Satana about a project, an IT project, and she brought up to me, this sounds good, but you got to find out, do people know how to turn a computer on? Can they do more than just turn a computer on? And the larger scope of it is, if we can increase life literacy, we can increase the quality of life of people around us and us in that situation. Now, I don't mean to brag, but that's real talk. It's real talk to the point And I got to bounce out of here. I have a meeting. But it's real, and this is where I get the inspiration, brothers and sisters. Because I look at people who were denied literacy. Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Slaves were denied literacy. And when they got it, they changed the world. Now, if they can do it, not being lettered, not being literate, but growing into literacy and creating a culture where we benefit, brothers and sisters, why are we not perpetuating that good habit right now? I don't care which type of literacy it is, spiritual, digital, health, failure literacy, mental literacy, mobility literacy. Why are we not thinking about these different pathways to success and well-being? Listen, that's my show for today. Again, I want you to check out BeFinanciallyIndependent.com. Again, that's BeFinanciallyIndependent.com. You can call the Harriet Tubman of Debt Freedom. That would be Miss Maxine Cade. You can call 1-800-679-3175. Again, that's 1-800-679-3175. And if anybody has a question that you want to ask me about literacy, email me, or tomorrow just put your name in a box, or you know what, email permissiblelaughter@gmail.com. Email permissiblelaughter@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to share my notes with you, because I think this is a conversation I think is overdue. So look, I'm going to get out. You guys have been, as always, amazing. This topic actually went really quickly. I thought it was going to be a slow topic, but this topic went really, really quickly, and I think that it's important, and it's paramount that we get into these spaces and have things. We'll be going into, of course, Throwback Thursdays tomorrow and Friday Funnies, but, for Hump Day, I believe it's important that we talk about topics and scenarios and information that increase us and give us a larger opportunity of success and larger opportunity for opportunities. Let's reach and engage potential. All right, brothers and sisters, that's my show. You've been amazing. My name is Preacher Moss. I will see you, if I'm lucky, inshallah, I will see you guys on the ShOUT show tomorrow. Until then, take care and stay blessed. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hey everybody, this is your brother Preacher Moss. Listen, I hope that you enjoyed your ShOUT show experience. We'll be back with the next show, the next ShOUT show. A simple ask before you go, please help your brother out. Click that subscribe button, click that notify button, and I'll see you again on this side of the microphone. You probably wonder what that smell is. That's me. I smell good. And the reason I smell good is because I use oils from Tarif Attar. So I'm not saying you can't smell good. I'm not even saying you stink. I'm saying you have the opportunity to smell exquisite. Check out TarifAttar.com for some of the best oils and scents in town.